Okay, I don't know if this is going to come out right or not. This is one of the videos that got lost due to computer problems, and I don't want to
The
keep
tale
reshooting
of
it.
Tobit, son of Tobiel, son of Ananiel, son of Aduel, son of Gabal, of the lineage of Asiel, and tribe of Naphtali. In the days of Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, he was exiled from Thebes, which is south of Kadesh Naphtali in Upper Galilee, above Hazor, some distance to the west, north of Shephat. I, Tobit, have walked in paths of truth and in good works all the days of my life. I have given much in alms to my brothers and fellow countryfolk, exiled like me to Nineveh in the country of Assyria.
So I think it looks beautiful. I don't think a real Bible writer would brag so much about himself. It's not a real game, although it calls itself a game, but
In my young days, when I was still at home in the land of Israel, the whole tribe of Naphtali, my ancestor, broke away from the house of David and from Jerusalem. Though this was the city chosen out of all the tribes of Israel for their sacrifices, here the temple, God's dwelling place, had been built and hallowed for all generations to come. All my brothers and the house of Naphtali sacrificed on every hilltop in Galilee to the calf that Jeroboam, king of Israel, had made at Dan.
it comes from the wrong era to be a, a real Bible book. And
Often, I was quite alone in making the pilgrimage to Jerusalem, fulfilling the law that binds all Israel perpetually. I would hurry to Jerusalem with the first yield of fruits and beasts, the tithe of cattle, and the sheep's first shearings. I would give these to the priests, the sons of Aaron, for the altar. To the Levites ministering at Jerusalem, I would give my tithe of wine and corn, olives, pomegranates, and other fruits. 6 years in succession, I took the second tithe in money and went and paid it annually at Jerusalem.
I'm not trying to offend any Catholics out there or anybody who has Tobit in their Bible. In fact, I'm listing this as a Bible game, even though it's not a game.
I gave the third to orphans and widows, and to the strangers who live among the Israelites. I brought it them as a gift every 3 years. When we ate, we obeyed the ordinances of the law of Moses and the exhortations of Deborah, the mother of our ancestor, Ananiel. For my father had died and left me an orphan. When I came to man's estate, I married a woman from our kinsfolk, whose name was Anna. She bore me a son, whom I called Tobias.
In Deuteronomy 14, starting in verse 22, I believe, is the law about that third tithe that's supposed to be given to take care of the poor. But it says take it to Jerusalem. It doesn't say to just give it on your own. You take it to Jerusalem and the priest distribute it to the poor. You can read that in Deuteronomy chapter 14. Again, not trying to offend anybody who has Tobit in their Bible. The Protestants don't have it in their Bible.
When the banishment into Assyria came, I was taken away and went to Nineveh. All my brothers and the people of my race ate the food of the heathen, but for my part, I was careful not to eat the food of the heathen. And because I had kept faith with my God with my whole heart, the Most High granted me the favor of Shalmaneser, and I became the king's purveyor. Until his death, I used to travel to Media, where I transacted business on his behalf, and I deposited sacks of silver worth 10 talents with Gabel, the brother of Gabrius, at Ragus in Media.
So very similar to Daniel and Joseph, who are exiled and get great favor from the king and are put in charge of...
On the death of Shalmaneser, his son Sennacherib succeeded. The roads into Media were barred, and I could no longer go there. In the days of Shalmaneser, I had often given alms to the people of my race. I gave my bread to the hungry and clothes to those who lacked them, and I buried, when I saw them, the bodies of my countryfolk thrown over the walls of Nineveh. I also buried those who were killed by Sennacherib. When Sennacherib was beating a disorderly retreat from Judea after the King of Heaven had punished his blasphemies, he killed a great number of Israelites in his rage. So I stole their bodies to bury them. Sennacherib looked for them and could not find them.
Touching the dead bodies would make him ritually unclean, but he might think that it was worth being ritually unclean in order to do that service for a fellow Israelite, if he was a real person.
A Ninevite went and told the king it was I who had buried them secretly. When I knew that the king had been told about me and saw myself being hunted by men who would put me to death, I was afraid and fled. All my goods were seized. They were all confiscated by the treasury. Nothing was left me but my wife Anna and my son Tobias.
He says my wife Anna a lot. I'm just trying to show you the alleged game. It's not...
Less than 40 days after this, the king was murdered by his 2 sons, who then fled to the mountains of Ararat. His son Esarhaddon succeeded. Ahikar, the son of my brother Anil, was appointed chancellor of the exchequer for the kingdom and given the main ordering of affairs. Ahikar then interceded for me, and I was allowed to return to Nineveh, since Ahikar had been chief cupbearer, keeper of the Sinye, administrator, and treasurer under Sennacherib, king of Assyria, and Esarhaddon had kept him in office. He was a relation of mine. He was my nephew.
I could have presented research about the historicity of this. I chose not to do that because I'm really not trying to offend anybody.
In the reign of Esarhaddon, therefore, I returned home, and my wife Anna was restored to me with my son Tobias.
My wife
At
Anna,
our
my
feast
son
of Pentecost,
Tobias.
the Feast of Weeks, there was a good dinner. I took my place for the meal. The table was brought to me, and various dishes were brought. I then said to my son Tobias, "Go, my child, and seek out some poor, loyal-hearted man among our brothers exiled in Nineveh, and bring him to share my meal. I will wait until you come back, my child."
I've only read it about 5 times because it's not in my Bible, of course. I have read it before, but I didn't remember a lot of it before I did the first video of this.
So Tobias went out to look for some poor man among our brothers, but he came back again and said, "Father." I replied, "What is it, my child?" He went on, "Father, one of our nation has just been murdered. He has been strangled and then thrown down in the marketplace. He is there still." I sprang up at once, left my meal untouched, took the man from the marketplace, and laid him in one of my rooms, waiting until sunset to bury him. I came in again and washed myself and ate my bread in sorrow, remembering the words of the prophet of Amos concerning Bethel. I shall turn your festivals into mourning, and all your singing into lamentation. And I wept. When the sun was down, I went and dug a grave and buried him.
It seems odd that he'd just be burying people on land he didn't own. I don't think people would just let you bury people on their land without some kind of accommodation, payment or something, especially in a foreign land.
My neighbors laughed and said, "See, he is not afraid anymore. You must remember that a price had been set on my head earlier for this very thing. Once before he had to flee, yet here he is, beginning to bury the dead again. That night I took a bath. Then I went into the courtyard and lay down by the courtyard wall. Since it was hot, I left my face uncovered."
When I got this, I thought it was a game. As you see, there's no game elements. There's a game world, but there's no decision making or anything like that. It's the book of...
I did not know that there were sparrows in the wall above my head. Their hot droppings fell into my eyes. This
Ick.
caused white spots to form, which I went to have treated by the doctors. But the more ointments they tried me with, the more the spots blinded me. And in the end, I became completely blind. I remained without sight 4 years. All my brothers were distressed on my behalf, and Ahikar provided for my upkeep for 2 years, until he left for Elimace. My wife Anna then undertook women's work.
My wife
She would
Anna.
spin wool and take cloth to weave. She used to deliver whatever had been ordered from her, and then receive payment. Now, on the 7th day of the month of Dystros, she finished a piece of work and delivered it to her customers. They paid her all that was due, and into the bargain presented her with a kid for a meal.
So that's kind of icky, the whole bird droppings in your eye making you blind thing. Anyway, like I said, I shot a video of this before. It's the whole text of the book of Tobit with this beautiful background, and you just walk around in it. It's called a walking simulator. A walking simulator is not a game.
When the kid came into my house, it began to bleat. I called to my wife and said, "Where does this creature come from? Suppose it has been stolen. Let the owners have it back. We have no right to eat stolen goods." She said no. It was a present given to me over and above my wages. I did not believe her and told her to give it back to the owners. I felt deeply ashamed of her, to which she replied, "What about your own alms? What about your own good works? Everyone knows what return you have had for them."
So he just goes on and on about his good works and all of that. You don't find this in the Bible, anybody bragging about their own good works. They might brag about how righteous somebody else is, but not themselves. Anyway, I'm walking around in this. I'm choosing the roads to take and what to look at and all that. I am doing that, but that's the whole interaction.
Then, sad at heart, I sighed and wept, and began this prayer of lamentation. "You are just, O Lord, and just are all your works. All your ways are grace and truth, and you are the judge of the world. Therefore, Lord, remember me. Look on me. Do not punish me for my sins, or for my needless faults or those of my ancestors. For we have sinned against you, and broken your commandments, and you have given us over to be plundered, to captivity and death, to be the talk, the laughing stock, and scorn of all the nations among whom you have dispersed us. And now all your decrees are true when you deal with me as faults deserve, and those of my ancestors. For we have neither kept your commandments, nor walked in truth before you. So now, do with me as you will. Be pleased to take my life from me, so that I may be delivered from earth, and become earth again. Better death than life for me, for I have endured groundless insult, and am in deepest sorrow. Lord, be pleased to deliver me from this affliction. Let me go away to my everlasting home. Do not turn your face from me, O Lord. Better death for me than life prolonged in the face of unrelenting misery. I can no longer bear to listen to insults.
So I shot a bunch of Bible-type games, and that week before I could upload them, my computer went wonky, and all of the stuff was lost. And this was one of them, but it didn't shoot properly anyway, so I'm trying again.
It chanced on the same day that Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, who lived in Media at Ecbatana, also heard insults from one of her father's maids, for she had been given in marriage 7 times, and Asmodeus, the worst of demons, had killed her bridegrooms one after another, before ever they had slept with her as man with wife. The servant girl said, "Yes, you. Kill your bridegrooms yourself. That makes 7 already, to whom you have been given, and you have not once been in luck yet. Just because your bridegrooms have died, that is no reason for punishing us. Go and join them, and may we be spared the sight of any child of yours."
So I just wonder about these guys that would marry her after, say, 5 guys have died that have wanted to marry her. It would seem it would be really hard to get somebody else to want to marry you after the 5 previous deaths. I'm not making fun of it, I'm just saying.
That day she grieved, she sobbed, and she went up to her father's room, intending to hang herself. But then she thought, suppose they were to blame my father. They would say, "You had an only daughter whom you loved, and now she has hanged herself from grief. I cannot cause my father a sorrow which would bring down his old age to the dwelling of the dead. I should do better not to hang myself, but to beg the Lord to let me die, and not live to hear any more insults." And at this, by the window, with outstretched arms she said this prayer: "You are blessed, O God of mercy. May your name be blessed forever, and may all things you have made bless you everlastingly. And now I turn my face and raise my eyes to you. Let your word deliver me from earth. I can hear myself insulted no longer. O Lord, you know that I have remained pure. No man has touched me. I have not dishonored your name or my father's name in this land of exile. I am my father's only daughter. He has no other child as heir. He has no brother at his side, nor has he any kinsman left for whom I ought to keep myself. I have lost 7 husbands already. Why should I live any longer? If it does not please you to take my life, then look on me with pity. I can no longer bear to hear myself defamed."
Apparently you have to stay on a path, because I tried to walk away from the path and it didn't let me. Probably metaphoric. The way to walk is called halakha in Hebrew, and it means how you live. It literally means the way of walking, but it actually means how you live completely. What you eat, what you wear, your hair length, how you talk, how you sit, all of it.
This time, the prayer of each of them found favor before the glory of God, and Raphael was sent to bring remedy to them both. He was to take the white spots from the eyes of Tobit, so that he may see God's light with his own eyes. And he was to give Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, as bride to Tobias, son of Tobit, and to rid her of Asmodeus, the worst of demons. For it was to Tobias, before all other suitors, that she belonged by right. Tobit was coming back from the courtyard into the house at the same moment as Sarah, the daughter of Ragel, was coming down from the upper room.
So people...
The same day, Tobit remembered the silver that he had left with Gabel at Ragus in Media, and thought, I have come to the point of praying for death. I should do well to call my son Tobias and tell him about the money before I die. He summoned his son Tobias and told him, When I die, give me an honorable burial. Honor your mother and never abandon her all the days of your life. Do all that she wants and give her no reason for sorrow. Remember, my child, all the risks she ran for your sake when you were in her womb, and when she dies, bury her at my side in the same grave.
People speculated that my computer died because I had done the biblical softwares.
My child, be faithful to the Lord of all your days. Never entertain the will to sin or to transgress his laws. Do good works all the days of your life. Never follow ways that are not upright. For if you act in truthfulness, you'll be successful in all your actions, as everyone who practices what is upright. Set aside part of your goods for almsgiving. Never turn your face from the poor, and God will never turn his from you. Measure your alms by what you have. If you have much, give more. If you have little, do not be afraid to give less in alms. So doing, you will lay up for yourself a great treasure for the day of necessity. For almsgiving delivers from death, and saves people from passing down to darkness. Almsgiving is a most effective offering for all those who do it in the presence of the Most High.
So, this is unique to Tobit, that almsgiving delivers people from death rather than faith or keeping other commandments or anything like that. Rather than Jesus, of course, as well.
My child, avoid all loose conduct. Choose a wife of your father's stock. Do not take a foreign wife outside your father's tribe. Because we are the children of the prophets, remember Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our ancestors from the beginning. All of them took wives from their own kindred, and they were blessed in their children, and their race will inherit the earth. You too, my child, must love your own brothers. Never presume to despise your brothers, the sons and daughters of your people. Choose your wife from among them, for pride brings ruin and much worry. Idleness causes need and poverty, for the mother of famine is idleness.
The Talmud...
Do not keep back until next day the wages of those who work for you. Pay them at once. If you serve God, you will be rewarded. Be careful, my child, in all you do, well disciplined in all your behavior. Do to no one what you would not want done to you. Do not drink wine to the point of drunkenness. Do not let excess be your traveling companion.
So it's either Shammai or Hillel that said, do not do what you would not want done to yourself, which is the negative saying of what became known as, the Golden Rule. The Talmud also says that if you're poor, you should still give
Give your bread
the
to
poor.
those who are hungry, and your clothes to those who lack clothing. Of whatever you own in plenty, devote a proportion to almsgiving, and when you give alms, do it ungrudgingly. Be generous with bread and wine on the graves of upright people, but not for the sinner. Ask advice of every wise person. Never scorn any profitable advice. Bless the Lord God in everything. Beg him to guide your ways and bring your paths and purposes to their end. For wisdom is not the property of every nation. Their desire for what is good is conferred by the Lord. At his will, he lifts up or he casts down to the depths of the dwelling of the dead. So now, my child, remember these precepts, and never let them fade from your heart. Now, my child, I must tell you I have left 10 talents of silver with Gabel, son of Gabrius, at Ragus in Media. Do not be afraid, my child, if we have grown poor. You have great wealth if you fear God, if you shun every kind of sin, and if you do what is pleasing to the Lord your God.
So Shemaiah and Hillel lived before the book of Tobit was written. And like I said, that's where the golden rule came from, although Jesus put it in a positive, and it was originally taught as a negative. Do not do what you would not want done to yourself. Would be called a negative law because it tells you what not to do, as opposed to a positive law. Do unto others as what you'd have them do unto you, which is the positive affirming of that same law. I hope this is recording well. It looks great on this computer, but I don't think I would try a third time to record this game. So if it doesn't work out this time, I probably won't try again. Is that it? Is that the whole book of Tobit? Because if so, doesn't it kind of leave you wondering what happened? It does for me. I mean, I'm thinking, does this girl ever marry somebody who doesn't die before they consummate the marriage? Does that situation ever get healed? Does the blind guy ever get his sight back? What was the point of this book? Again, I'm trying not to mock. Yeah, I am the poorly aging, sarcastic, PC witty gamer. And so I'm sarcastic and I mock game developers and things like that. I try not to mock things that people believe to be sacred. But I honestly don't know what the point of this book was. What great truths can we take from it? I mean, yeah, it has the golden rule in it. And I think it was Shammai who said it, but it could have been Hillel, because I don't study the Talmud as much. And many of the things that they said appear in the Talmud later on. And the Talmud, of course, was published long after the time of Yeshua, Jesus' mission here on earth. But those teachers, they lived hundreds of years before Jesus. and these teachings of them were known. And so many of the times when Yeshua is being asked a question, he's being asked it to try and get him to side with either the house of Shammai or the house of Hillel. That's the point. It would be like if you meet somebody, if you're an American and you meet somebody and they don't tell you whether they're a Republican or a Democrat, and you want to know whether they are because you might discriminate against them if they aren't what you are. So if you're a Democrat, you might dismiss everything somebody says if you find out they're a Republican. And if you're a Republican, you might dismiss everything somebody says if you find out they're a Democrat. Now, I'm not saying all Republicans do that or all Democrats do that. I'm saying there's some that would. Especially the last few years. There are people on each side that absolutely hate people on the other side, and they would disregard anything they said. So there were people in the Bible, in the Gospels, that were looking to start or continue fights that have been going on for hundreds of years between adherents to the house of Shammai or the house of Hillel. A good example would be when Yeshua is asked, is it okay to divorce your wife for any reason? One of them had ruled that you could not. I think it was the house of Hillel. I think Hillel said that you could divorce your wife for any reason whatsoever, even if she burned the toast in the morning. Or, that's the famous one, by the way. They even, where I live, there's even lawyers, divorce lawyers, that advertise with that. They basically say, if your wife burned the toast and you want to divorce her, give me a call. And these are not comedy routines. These are people that know that that's a legal statute that came from the house of Hillel. I think it was Hillel. It could have been Shammai. Again, I get my Shammai and Hillel confused. Don't we all? And so I believe it was Hillel that said you could divorce your wife for any reason whatsoever. If she wasn't pretty enough for you anymore, she got old, she got fat, she burnt the toast. Another reason, one I found very funny, by the way, was if she had a younger sister that you found more attractive, since you weren't allowed to marry two sisters. So by the time the Torah, so we know, of course, that Yaakov, Jacob, who became Israel, he married two sisters. And the Bible doesn't condemn him for this. Even though, remember, he was tricked into marrying one of them, because his father-in-law put the older daughter in bed with him after he had worked for the younger one, for Rachel, the one he wanted. The Bible does not condemn Yaakov for marrying two sisters, but later, when the Torah is given, so more than 400 years later, it says you can't marry a mother and a daughter, two sisters. You know, you can't marry people that are already relatives of each other. And so Hillel ruled that if you wanted to marry your wife's sister, you could divorce your wife to marry her sister. And Shammai ruled that you couldn't divorce your wife at all for any reason whatsoever. So you could catch her in adultery every day of the week, and she could be unrepentant. She could be the town prostitute, whatever. You could never divorce her under any circumstances whatsoever. And so these people come to Yeshua in the Gospels trying to get him to side with one of these rulings. Meaning they're trying to get him to make a decision that is either for the house of Shammai or the house of Hillel. Is it lawful to divorce your wife for any reason, they ask. All this to say, the teachings of Hillel and Shammai, so they had houses, and when I say houses, it means a house of instruction. And so the people that learned from him, and then the people who followed them, like after they were dead and things like that, are called the house of Shammai or the house of Hillel, depending on which one you went with. And so these teachings were well known in the Intertestament in the Intertestament period. So when Jesus, for instance, said, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you," this was not a completely unique saying. It would have been familiar to people that were conversant with the house of Shammai or the house of Hillel and the things that those leaders had said hundreds of years previous. And so here in the book of Tobit, you have the golden rule in the negative. Just as it appears in, like I said, I believe it's Shammai. I could look it up. It's one of those two guys. It's either Hillel or Shammai, but maybe it was Hillel. Anyway. So, that's a great teaching. And I try to put it in practice as much as I can. I do to other people what I would want them to do to me. And I also try not to do things to other people that I wouldn't want them to do to me. But beyond that, I'm left to wonder, what do we get out of this book? And this isn't just a matter of should this be in our Bible. That wasn't the point of making this video, if this video even goes up. Again, the video is only going to go up if when I look at it after I stop shooting it, it looks and sounds right. But this isn't about arguing whether it belongs in the Bible or anything. It's just, what did we get out of it? What was the point in telling this story? I honestly don't know. I know I know why the Catholic Church likes it. It's that almsgiving thing. I honestly, I don't know why the writer, and of course we don't know who wrote it, but I don't know why the writer wrote it. And it seems very incomplete, like I pointed out. As a reader of this, I want to know, and I assume, by the way, like I said, I've read the book like maybe 5 times in my life. I'm a 62-year-old man. I forget a lot of things. I assume that was the whole book of Tobit that was in this walking simulator. If it wasn't, maybe some of these questions would be answered by the rest of the text of the book. I don't know. But yeah, to me, it's incomplete. I want to know, does the guy die blind? Does God heal him? Of this blindness that he got from the bird droppings getting in his eyes? And by the way, I've never heard of this before. I mean, outside of this one book, I've never heard of somebody, they're sleeping, bird poops, the poop gets in both eyes. I mean, you know, that's odd too, because you would think as soon as bird poop got anywhere near either one of your eyes, you'd get up, you'd shoo the bird away, you'd go wash your eyes or whatever. So it's really odd that the bird poop would get into both eyes and affect the eyes to the point where they'd both be blind. But yeah, I'm left to wonder, does this guy ever get his sight back? And what happens to this poor girl who's had 7 husbands die on her? That's what I want to know. Now, about the future, and again, I don't know if anybody's watching this, and if they watched the beginning, maybe they haven't watched the rest of this commentary or anything, but I plan to do regular video games, to shoot video of regular video games and upload them to my YouTube channel, the Poorly Aged Sarcastic PC Witty Gamer channel. I don't plan to specialize in Bible video games, but I wouldn't shun them either. So I did do a video, for instance, well, I did 2 videos of a game called I Am Jesus Christ. One of the videos I shot in the week before my computer went out was one called Jesus Sacred Heart, or Sacred Heart Jesus, or something like that. That one I didn't upload because I never found the game in it, first of all. That's one problem with some Bible so-called games. I never found the game in it. And on top of that, it teaches you how to do the rosary. And I'm not Catholic. And so I shot a full video. I read the instructions verbatim. And then I didn't feel right about uploading that video. And so I sat on the decision. I didn't decide not to do it. I kept the video of it. The video was lost. So when my computer had troubles, in order to get the computer bootable again, it overwrote my C drive. So it wrote just so it formatted my drive. This is a new feature in Windows. It does everything it can to try and fix your computer. In this case, it tried so hard to fix the computer, it eventually formatted my hard drive and then put the operating system on. And it didn't ask me permission to do this. And if you're thinking that's not what it did, you're wrong. Well, I'm not lying, I can tell you that. That's what it looks like it did, because when I was able to boot my computer again, everything was gone off of the C drive, my boot drive, other than the operating system. All my apps were gone, all my documents were gone, and everything. And of course, all the videos, there were about 200, I think there were 208 videos of all kinds of games, not just Bible games, that were waiting to be uploaded to YouTube. They were all gone, including a video of Tobit. But also the Sacred Heart Jesus footage was all gone. I have a video game called Moses and the Children of Israel, something like that. The footage of it was gone. I shot footage of a game called Kings of Israel. So, like I said, for 1 week, I kind of did a theme. Even though when I started this channel, I thought I'm never going to do politics or religion. I want people to not know my politics or my religion when they're watching this channel. Now, in the rest of my life, I'm very clear about my religion, and I do talk about politics. So there's other places where I teach about these things, and I do it a lot. So I thought my gaming channel is going to be apolitical. And I don't want anyone to know what my religion is if they're watching it, unless, of course, they already know me, because if they know me, they're going to know what my religion is. So, if you think you know what I am religiously, but you don't know me personally, you could be wrong about what I am. And in the future, if companies choose to give me Bible games, or if compelling Bible games come out, I will shoot videos of them and upload them to YouTube. But my plans for the YouTube video game channel, the Poorly Aged Sarcastic PC Witty Gamer channel, where you're falling in love in stereo, is to have videos of things like Madden NFL football, Starfield, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, Skyrim, SimCity, Disneyland Adventures, Mortal Kombat, Grand Theft Auto, Monopoly, just regular old video games. What you're used to as video games. Borderlands 4 is coming out in 2 days. I plan to cover it extensively. So I want to thank the 63 subscribers. If you're watching this, hey, how are you? Especially Miles from Nowhere and Fallen Race, but the others as well. And I want to thank anybody that's watching this video, especially this far into this video. As always, you can give the video a thumbs up. You could share this link with other people. Maybe you want somebody to know what the Book of Tobit is about. Maybe you want to share the wonders of the Poorly Aging Sarcastic PC Witty Gamer channel with them. You can leave comments below. That's one of the ways that YouTube knows that you're engaged with what's on the channel. Lets them know that people enjoy the channel, and it causes YouTube to offer the videos to other people so that they can see if they would like them as well. So, non-threatening, non-profane comments below. If you hit that notification button, you'll be notified whenever I get a new video out. So thank you very much for being here. I'm very grateful for everyone who watches any video that I've made available. And again, especially to my subscribers. And you can become a subscriber too. It's free. It's fun. I subscribe to a lot of different YouTube channels. You can as well. Thank you so much for being here. I am your poorly aging, sarcastic, PC, witty gamer. I hope you enjoyed this video.